From Washington, this is VOA News. I'm Ray Kouguell reporting. Fate of Jordanian pilot held by Islamic State still unknown. Jordan's King Abdullah II says his country is doing everything it can to rescue the captured Jordanian fighter pilot being held by the Islamic State. Amman renewed its pledge to release an Iraqi insurgent on death row in Jordan if given proof that the pilot is still alive. The new effort came in the aftermath of the jihadists' beheading of a Japanese journalist. Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe called the killing of Kenji Goto an inhumane and contemptible act of terrorism and vowed he would never forgive the killers. President Obama described the killing as heinous murder. British Foreign Secretary Philip Hammond offered his country's response to the Goto killing.
We stand together with the people of Japan and indeed with all our allies against terrorism wherever it rears its heads. And I'd like to send my expression of sympathies to the family, the friends of Kenji Goto, and indeed to the people of Japan.
Analysts believe the executioner had the same British accent as the killer featured in earlier Islamic State execution videos. Egypt deported an Al Jazeera journalist back to his home in Australia Sunday, releasing him for more than a year's imprisonment after his conviction of allegedly aiding the banned Muslim Brotherhood. Peter Grest had been in prison for 400 days. An Egyptian security official says a second Al Jazeera journalist, arrested with Grest in December of 2013, Canadian-Egyptian Mohammed Fahmy, could be deported within days to Canada. At least 7 Lebanese Shiite pilgrims are killed Sunday in Damascus. It happened when a bomb exploded on a bus carrying them to holy sites. No claim of responsibility, although the Nusra Front did. Fighting continued Sunday in eastern Ukraine as government forces and pro-Russian rebels fought for a strategic transport hub following the collapse of peace talks aimed at de-escalating the crisis. Authorities in Kiev say at least 13 Ukrainian soldiers were killed, 20 wounded, as separatists attacked villages. 10 civilians died in fighting and shelling in the self-declared separatist region of Donetsk, as well as Luhansk. Nigeria's military says its forces have repelled the latest attempt by Boko Haram fighters to take over the key northeastern city of Maiduguri. Military officials say many militants were killed during the fighting in the capital of Borno State. Several civilians also died. Elsewhere, security sources say a suicide bombing targeting a political meeting in the northeastern Nigerian town of Potiskum killed at least 7 people. The International Organization for Migration is condemning growing violence against foreign nationals and their businesses in several Johannesburg townships. IOM is calling on the South African government to take urgent action to protect the migrants from xenophobic attacks. Lisa Schlein reports from IOM headquarters in Geneva.
The International Organization for Migration reports attacks against migrants have now spread beyond Soweto to 2 other Johannesburg townships, Alexandra and Langlaagte. In the past 2 weeks, IOM reports 9 people have been killed in the affected areas, with 7 deaths directly linked to the violence between migrants and South Africans. Spokesman Joel Millman says there are more than 700 documented cases of looting of shops owned by migrants.
Prejudices and stereotypes about migrants unfortunately fuel the sentiments of those who choose to loot and plunder the shops of hardworking entrepreneurs simply because of their ethnic background.
The IOM says measures must be taken to protect their safety, property, and dignity. Lisa Schlein for VOA News, Geneva.
Thousands of pro-democracy protesters returned to the streets of Hong Kong Sunday, the first mass demonstration there since they shut down parts of the city late last year. That's when they were demanding full democracy in the former British colony. Organizers say Sunday's protest was intended to be peaceful and not a repeat of the so-called Occupy Central campaign, in which demonstrators shut down key streets for 2.5 months, beginning in late September. There were no reports of any disturbances or arrests. The American-style football championship game, the Super Bowl, is now underway, the biggest annual sporting event in the United States. The 49th annual game this year features a matchup between the defending champion Seattle Seahawks and 3-time champion New England Patriots. The game is being played at the University of Phoenix Stadium in the southwestern state of Arizona. I'm Ray Kouguell in Washington.
That's the latest world news from VOA.